So measuring success though. So how do we even measure the success of this campaign? I think this one's pretty clear. How many people got on there? How many people were insiders? That's the whole intent of this event. So this is a very clear-cut experience for measurement. But our new measurement partner for 2025, Evolio Marketing, is going to talk to us a little bit more about those more complicated ones, the real pipeline and revenue generating experiences, the real events where people are kind of more on the ROE, return on ego, was the executive happy, than the real measurement. So Joe, we got a lot to talk about. Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me. And I love that shirt, Liz.
Yes, I was telling the story earlier. For those of you who have just tuned in, my Skibbity Risma shirt I acquired for the holidays with my family. And as we are flying to our destination, my daughter said, the shirt is awful. No one's going to like it. And I said, for every person who tells me they like my shirt, you owe me $1. And if nobody tells me they like my shirt for the whole time we're traveling, I'll give you $100. So we're going to see who wins. There's another measurement for you.
Love it.
All right, Joe. Okay, so I know that you have just flown in, and boy, are your arms tired. And you are, and where are you? Did you make it home or did you get to a hotel?
I am at a friend's house in Boulder, Colorado.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and so tell me about Evolio Marketing. Now, you and I have had a whole lot of time together. You came on the Croatia trip with us. We talked in inflatable unicorns. We've had a whole lot of conversations, and then in years past, we've had more, but not everyone knows about you and Evolio.
So Evolio, it's a market research and event strategy agency. We focus solely on measuring events, whether it's for an exhibitor or a sponsor, a corporate event, a trade show organizer, association, a sporting event like the Olympics, a concert, anything that really delivers an experience, a brand experience. We measure it. And over the time, we've developed a lot of standard KPIs that we
Mm.
recommend incorporating in that measurement, in addition, of course, to custom metrics that are really unique to the goals and objectives of the client.
Okay, so the process though isn't just we're going to send out a survey and give you the results. There's a little bit more into it than that, right?
Yeah, it would be nice if that was it, but even with the brilliance of AI, it's still not that easy.
Yeah. So I know that your team does a lot of on-site, actual real live conversations and interviews. Tell me about how that works.
Yeah, so normal process is really talk to the stakeholders, our client stakeholders, understand their issues, challenges, goals, and objectives, right? That SGO, we call it, the strategy, goals, and objectives. Once
Mm.
that's nailed down, and a lot of the time it's like a Dr. Phil moment for some. Yeah, like there could be some tough love involved in order to
You
really,
have a problem.
yeah, exactly. I mean, to really map out measuring things that are impactful, that are actionable and effective versus rudimentary metrics, which we see a lot of data, rudimentary data being captured. And we have to get away from that because we're more sophisticated than that, all of us in event marketing and experiential marketing. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, the sophistication of measurement is kind of like, what does that really mean? I mean, obviously the non-sophisticated measurement is who registered and then who showed up. And then the a little bit more sophisticated measurement is, did you get pipeline from that particular campaign? And then were those opportunities won from that campaign? What else is there? What's more sophisticated?
Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect question. And there's a lot of things, even like you guys talk about at Club Ichi, is like that whole return on experience, return on emotion, right? The end result is ROI. Everyone goes right to ROI. We look at it as working backwards. Let's look at A, are you attracting and engaging with the right people? B, are you enhancing awareness and changing sentiment for that brand based upon the
Mm.
experiences you're delivering so that you could build that connection, that emotional connection where, wow, I really like this brand, or I didn't know this brand did all that, or wow, these reps are amazing, like whatever the case is. Because when those three stages are done right, that's when you get to the positive ROI. So
Right.
the ROX, ROE, return on experience, return on emotion, that's really where the meat of measurement comes in. And most people think that's intangible. It's absolutely tangible.
Right. Okay. So when it comes to post-event reporting, what do the executives really want to see? And is it one thing? Can I just make my one PowerPoint slide, throw my numbers in it, and then say, here's the report? Is that how it's working these days?
It's funny. There's like ask 10 people, they want 10 different reports. But like,
Right.
yeah, we all, that ADHD version of like, yeah, show me a great dashboard, which is important. But the key is the data storytelling. You can have pretty dashboards, you can have nice, Excel files that are robust with data.
But let's stop because that's the trap we all fall into, right? I made the beautiful dashboard, I put it in the PowerPoint or in the QBR afterwards, and I emailed it out. And you're telling me that's not all that needs to happen?
That's the foundation. But from there, literally, you have to explain it in a way that's getting people excited, inspired, motivated, identify the problems, challenges, weaknesses, areas for improvement. You don't want to sweep that under the rug. And look, we're human and we're talking about experiences with other humans. So if you think a dashboard is humanizing data, it's not. Humans humanize data.
Right. Give me an example about data storytelling, though. Maybe I'm not following that one.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's so hot right now. So, and again, this is where AI really can help you with that. If you're not an expert in it. So we'll talk about it two ways. Let's talk about the AI way first, because this is mind-blowing and amazing. And after everything Anka was just talking about, it's a nice little segue, right? So if you have that dashboard or you have that spreadsheet with all this meaningful information. It's got the right headers, footers, axes on charts, whatever labels. You can literally upload that into a Perplexity or a Claude or a Chat GPT or whatever, and say with the right prompts, of course, and you work on the prompts and keep evolving it, but say, hey, looking at this data, could you tell me what are the 5 most important actionable items in here? And think of it from the perspective of a CMO. Now let's think of it from the perspective of an exhibit manager, like whatever. And so it's going to pluck out
That's cool.
what the data, all this data, what it really means, and give you a pretty decent story. And then, again, refine it with more prompts. Love
Yeah.
it. It's amazing. It's so powerful for like qualitative research if you're doing focus groups or in-depth
Yeah.
interviews with customers and prospects or media or whatever. And then the laborious way, or the old-fashioned way, is that data storytelling where you go back to the SGO, the strategy, goals, and objectives. You go back to the pain points. Of course, hopefully every question on if you're doing a survey maps back to those goals, objectives, and pain points. So now you replay it in a way that's not just 40% said this, and 80% said that. We know how to read a pie chart, things like that. But it's really the so what. Hey, 25% of your attendees are Gen Z. Gen Z typically want to be marketed to through TikTok, Instagram, not Facebook and not email, right? They're using their, Instagram and TikTok are like their Googles nowadays for searching information. So there could be like 4 or 5 key data points that talk about age and how they hear about events and this and that thing, but pulling it together to tell that story, to make it actionable, how to grow your audience among Gen Z, if that was a goal, right? That's the data storytelling part.
Got it. Yeah, no, I think that's a fabulous call out of how to do it. I know that even using AI, to your point of gathering these insights and then having it tell the story for you, and then you can tweak it and decide what to do next. But it can even offer you that. I know when we were in Croatia, that was an example of how we do our spontaneous think tank. So we crowdsource with the big 6x8 sticky notes, challenges people are trying to solve. I mean, it doesn't cost much. Anyone can go onto Amazon and buy the Post-it brand, because the off-brand ones fall right off the wall. So get those sticky notes, get the Sharpie markers, and ask people what challenges they're trying to solve. And then literally, this is what I do. I take pictures of the sticky notes. I then load those pictures into ChatGPT and say, give me the top trends that you're seeing in the challenges people are trying to solve. And it gives me this beautiful story of your attendees are struggling with this, this, and this. Now I know how to shape conversations and how to move that story forward, because it's really helped me. So I can still pattern match, and I have to have a human eye on it, because sometimes, it'll pull out an idea and ignore it because people put check marks on it instead of seeing it multiple times. So it's not 100% there. Somebody can help me design an app that does that. But again, just taking analog data and then getting those stories to tell, I think is really helpful too.
Oh, I mean, it's helpful. It's a time saver. We've had experiences where it's brought up some really interesting points that we hadn't considered or thought of, even though we're, experts in, living in data for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then, so it can still shine some light. Now, of course, you have to be really careful too, because it can, give you fake results or incorrect results. So,
Yeah. Oh, it
you
does
always don't want to
hallucinate.
just rely on it and say, oh,
Yeah.
this is good to go. But yeah, but for
Right.
the most part, it's mind-blowingly helpful and amazing.
Okay, so off of AI and back to actual measurement and reporting. So give me ways of measuring because I feel like there's this word data and it's freaking coming in from everywhere. So we got RFID, we got reg data, we got the badge scans, we've got all of this appended data that Mobley's doing. Like it's just coming in from everywhere. Like, how do you ingest it? What do you do with it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, then you're absolutely right. There's especially, I think, like one thing that happened post-COVID was we went from pre-COVID not enough data to post-COVID drowning in data from
That's how
so
I
many.
feel. Is it not
Yeah,
just me then? It's
no, not at all. And again, it goes back to the goals, the objectives. What are you trying to accomplish? Because there's so many methodologies and different ways to capture data. So you have to be real careful in terms of, are you using the right sample source, sample size, methods to, make sure you're collecting the right data. Give you a perfect example. This cracks me up. We were measuring a sponsorship. This was at Javits in New York, right? We were measuring a sponsorship for a major, major exhibitor at a show. And one of the sponsorships they did was they were doing the bus wraps, and
Mhm.
like, because they're like, oh, people are waiting in line forever for the shuttle buses back to the hotels, trying to
Yeah.
get through Midtown at rush hour and all that good stuff. So when we measured the impact of the sponsorship, and all we did was a post-event survey. So this was the most basic methodology, post-event online survey. But we measured, the three really effective sponsorship metrics: awareness, recall, and call to action. So do
Okay.
you recall seeing a sponsorship? Do you recall what brand was the sponsor and what did it get you to do? Did it make you visit the booth or at least become more aware or whatever? So when we did the attendee survey, the awareness of the sponsorship was really, really low.
Mhm.
And the brand association was really, really high, but it was off of a very low number.
Mm.
So when we looked at this, what happened was the sponsorship was really sold wrong because most of the people waiting in line for the buses to the back to the hotels were actually other exhibitors because
Oh,
the attendees were coming in by train, taxi, subway. They
oh, because
weren't
they were all
necessarily,
local. Oh,
yeah, like
fascinating.
75% of attendees were not taking those buses.
Wow.
So that was something that data revealed, right, through
Mhm.
just a regular post-event survey. Nothing,
Mhm.
it's very scientific, but it's a powerful, and tried and true method, obviously, of collecting data. But yeah,
Yeah.
reg data is obviously one your foundation of like understanding and even lead data. Who came?
Yeah.
What's the profile of the people that came? Is it who we think it is, or is it, and let's look at it in reality of who is it? The behavioral tracking data is absolutely amazing with the beacons or RFID or sensors and all that good stuff. I love that now. That technology has come a long way in just the last couple of years. It's powerful. It gives you the heat mapping, the journey mapping, and all that. It doesn't necessarily tell you much about outcomes.
Mhm.
Are people more likely to buy the ROE, the ROX? So that's where like appending information, literally, as you just said, Liz, like kind of like data mapping, appending data. So you could say, okay, the journey is this. We connect another data source at this point for the outcome to be that. That's where
Yeah.
amazing data storytelling comes in too, obviously.
I love it.
But everything isn't just done automatically. You really have to put the work in. You have to do a lot of mind mapping, data
Yeah.
cleansing. So it's not like, just go and create a survey and boom, you're done. You measured, you check the box. We know a lot of people are doing that, but that's where I go back to what I said before about rudimentary metrics. What are you going to do with this
Yeah.
information?
Well, it's just like community building or being a part of a community. You get out of it what you put into it, right? So it takes time, it takes effort, it takes actual thought. And this was a very thoughtful conversation. So I really appreciate it. For those of you that are Club Ichi insiders, you can catch Joe's entire Ichi Academy class on measurement and how to figure this out. He's got frameworks, he's got definitions, he's got an entire roadmap that you can take and use in your organization for building out those SGOs, which was strategy, goals, and objectives. Did I get it?
Nailed it.
And really some swipe files in there from him that you can take to your executives too and tell them what your measurement strategy is going to be and how you're going to go forward with it. And then, of course, reach out to Joe to figure out how you can work together. So, Joe, how can they find you?
Very easy. They could, obviously LinkedIn, Joe Federbush under Evolio. Really easy email is JOEF as in Frank at evolio.co, not com. So joef at evolio.co, EVOLIO.co. Super easy.
Amazing.
Text me if you want. It's all good. 512-635-7477. I'm
It's
putting it
in the
out
world
there.
now.
I
It's on the
really want
internet.
to make sure everyone's measuring the right way.
I love it. Talking to you is a blast every single time. Thank you for being here with us all the way from Denver. Go play in the snow now, and we're going to take a little food break coming up next. Thanks so much, Joe.